All right, so there's been a lot of chatter in the media about the FBI raid of Mar-a-Lago, and some of it's gotten heated. So this one is on CNN here. You have a CNN host talking to a Republican lawmaker who I believe is on the Intelligence Committee. Let's see how that goes.
I want to bring in Congressman Mike Turner of Ohio. He is the top Republican on the Intelligence Committee, and he sent a letter to the FBI director calling on him to explain his decision to authorize the search. Hi, Congressman. Thanks for coming on. So you still haven't heard back from the FBI.
By the way, I think that's fair. On the one hand, the FBI, they're not going to immediately put out everything this is about because there might be some sort of understanding of like, I don't know if I'd say a right to privacy in this instance, but like Trump was given a copy of the warrant. If he wants everybody to know the specifics of why he's, if there's a search warrant happening at his residence, he could release it. Now, Trump hasn't released it, which leads me to believe there's stuff in there that he's not being totally honest about, that it's not just about the classified documents. So there's a number of different angles of this, but I think it's fair to say FBI, what exactly is going on here. I think that's totally fair.
FBI, from this letter you sent, what are next steps if you don't hear back?
Well, we've already begun to ask for additional documentation. Our first letter to Director Wray was to ask him what national security risk rose to the level of him ordering a raid on the former president's home. I mean, this is unprecedented. And in history, we have never seen two members of a president's administration order a raid on the president's political rival, his former opponent, and perhaps potential opponent in the past, president of the United States. Certainly, whatever they're searching for must rise to the level of a national security threat.
So here's the speculation. The speculation is the FBI had already met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago and asked for certain documents. And I think some documents were turned over, but the FBI had reason to believe that this isn't all the documents, but there's a lot more, and we need the rest of that. And so it's almost like he wasn't really complying, and so this was the only way for them to get their hands on the document. And look, there was a search warrant. This was approved. There was obviously a process. And so there's a backstory here, right? Now, he's asking for that backstory. That's fair enough. But he's also trying to downplay that this is justified. And my response to that is, you really don't know that. You really don't know that. And my suspicion is quite the opposite, that when you've seen all of the stories around all of the various potential crimes that have been committed, not only is this justified, this shit could have happened a long time ago.
For the director to have ordered a raid on his home. But we've asked in addition, we want to see, reportedly, this is about the archivist sending over a criminal referral. We want to see what that is. We also want to see what Christopher Wray filed in court, what he said to the court that he was going to find there. We want an inventory of what they found. Obviously, we've been told in reports and even personal materials of the president were taken. What were they looking for? What did they find? And what did they tell the court that they were looking for?
Right.
Yeah. Again, I think that's fair that they can and should release all that. But what you're going to see is like a lot of the Republicans are just acting as like Trump's defense attorney. It's just kind of sad.
There's still a lot that we are hoping to learn. But if Republicans win the majority in the midterms, what would oversight look like?
Well, the American public are going to require, obviously, a review here. You can't just have two men who are in the Biden administration go after the president's political rival and not have the type of scrutiny that is going to be necessary here. We need to make certain that
Wait. This is a point a lot of people are making. I think it's a very stupid point. You can't go after him because he was a political rival. But what if he commits very, very obvious crimes? Should there be a rule that you can't go after him because he was your political opponent? I mean, Trump famously said about Hillary, because you'd be in jail. When she said, like, it's good somebody like you isn't in power. He was like, because you'd be in jail. He regularly told his Department of Justice, investigate this, investigate that, investigate this, investigate that. And, 99% of the time, I look at that and go, okay. But when the roles are reversed, these guys flip out. But also, let me add, this is a very important fact. Biden didn't even know about the raid. He didn't even know. They were acting free of their own volition, independently. And by the way, I believe that. He says, I didn't know about the raid. I totally believe that. Why? Because he's sort of a cuck, and I think he would have brought up some objections. Like, remember, Obama let Bush and Cheney get away with all their crimes because, we look forward, not backwards. My guess is if they went to Biden first, he would have said the same shit. Look, I don't know about going after him. We look forward, not backwards. This is the track record of the Democrats. So, and for the argument of like, this is like a banana republic, this is like a third world country, I can't believe what we're witnessing here. No, the opposite would be like a banana republic or a third world country. Why? Because you have this overclass of elites that gets away with all crimes in a third world country or a banana republic, right? Not, oh my God, there might actually be accountability and justice for somebody who had a phenomenal amount of power. No, that would be the opposite. That would be justice being blind. That's better. So in other words, the exact opposite point they're making is true. What would be pernicious and what would be more like, a developing country or a dictatorship is if the people at the top get away with anything and everything.
Appropriate laws were followed. We need to make certain that these two gentlemen are held to oversight. And the American public wants to know. I mean, we obviously have two different standards here.
But
where Hillary
I
Clinton
just want to
had
stop
her
you
own.
really.
Hold on a second.
Go ahead.
We have two standards where we have Hillary Clinton with her own computer system and classified information on it being given a subpoena, an ability to go through that server to see whether or not it's personal material or official material. And this president, not a Secretary of State, being rated. Clearly two different standards, and we want to know why.
Look. Again, the argument is because they already talked to him and he didn't turn over everything he needed to turn over. On the flip side, I don't know how you could see it the way he's seeing it. Just the idea that the FBI was like soft on Hillary. They investigated her. Now, maybe they couldn't dot all the I's and cross all the T's to actually find her guilty of something, which I wish there were 7 other crimes she was taken down for, right? But they investigated her, and her campaign blames the FBI and James Comey in part for why they lost. Because, the big, we're reopening the investigation or whatever the fuck when it was late in the election season. So the idea now that there's obviously two different standards and the FBI goes really soft on Hillary and very hard on Trump. What are you talking about? Look, if there are potential crimes, you investigate them, you act accordingly, and then whatever the results are, they are. If at the end of this Trump is cleared, all right, what are you going to do? I'd feel the same way about that as I feel about Hillary, which is all right, you weren't able to get her, but there's 7 crimes that I know she's guilty of, so you should have been able to get her, right? I'd feel the same way about Trump. Let's say he gets cleared. I'd be like, okay, but look, there were 7 other things you should have been able to get him for.
Well, hold on a second, though, because when it comes to Secretary Clinton, there's a lot to break down from what you just said, but let's go to the last part. Secretary Clinton, you, at the time, indicated that you were outraged by her, the way she handled her classified information, saying, quote, Secretary Clinton can be held accountable for her extremely careless actions. So why don't you share that same concern with Donald Trump, who is now a private citizen, taking 15 boxes of documents from the White House, including classified documents, to the White House, to his private residence? Why was it concerning for you with Hillary Clinton and not now with Donald Trump?
Look, that's a fair point, but I also think I'm not convinced that this is just about the classified documents. So I don't find this part of the conversation particularly relevant for that reason. There's a 50 or 60% chance this is about more than just those classified documents.
Sure. Well, there are two different things. When Hillary Clinton, while she was Secretary of State, had classified material about her classified communications traveling through her computer server in her house, putting it at risk for any counterintelligence or any others who are hacking into her materials, putting United States materials at risk. In this instance, we don't really know that these informations are classified. The archivist saying that something is labeled classified doesn't mean that it is. We have to look at the substance of what the president has. These aren't ongoing communications of the United States and the ongoing United States diplomacy matters that Hillary Clinton was conducting through her home. And also the president of the United States, unlike Hillary Clinton, has the ability to declassify those materials. So you don't really know what the status of these materials are. That's why the FBI director needs to tell the American public, what did he go after? Certainly there must be something.
Trump could tell everybody what they went after. He has a copy of the warrant. He didn't release it. There's a reason he didn't release it. Probably because there's more than just classified material stuff that they're looking for. Probably stuff relating to January 6th.
Higher on the national security level for him to do this. Remember, President Trump has more classified material in his head than he's going to have in his desk. But yet they raided his home to see what he had in his desk. I think the American public won't answer.
They executed a search warrant that was signed off by a judge who clearly found probable cause. But really quick, and I want to go.
And the head of the FBI was appointed by Donald Trump, still in power. So again, the idea of the politicization or this is partisanship, that's not true. In the same way that when there were 60 plus court cases about the rigged election and they lost almost every single one of them. And a lot of them were Republican-appointed judges. A lot of them were Trump-appointed judges. So you can't say, this is partisanship or this is politicization. No, it's not. It's just a bad point.
I'm going to talk more about that, but earlier in the conversation, you were claiming that DOJ is basically going after the president's political rival. But I mean, Donald Trump, there is example after example. I think there's like 25 examples of him when he was president trying to weaponize DOJ to go after his political rival. So why do you feel like there should be more scrutiny now on DOJ and not also? And we see it on.
Now, by the way, again, some of these things are goofy of Trump, and he's probably wrong about, right? But if Trump is saying to his Department of Justice, maybe looking at this, maybe looking at that, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. Now, there's this tradition, I guess, of, you don't do that if you're the president. You sort of let the FBI and the DOJ do their own thing in a sense, but I don't have a problem with this. Even if Biden did tell the FBI, hey, dog, get on that Trump case. Totally fine. Totally fine, because there's reason to believe there's a lot of fuckery and crimes going on over there, so I think that's perfectly reasonable.
The screen here as well, not also share that same concern back then when Trump was trying to go after his political rivals.
I have actually shared it. Actually, this actually goes back all the way to the Obama-Biden administration, where this Clapper, Brennan, Comey, where they began the politicalization of the FBI and of the Department of Justice, and that where we saw the two standards, where Hillary Clinton was given a pass and other people who were in the military were not. And certainly then you had Donald Trump, who continued to raise that issue of what were these two standards, why was he being pursued? And as you even know today, the New York Times has reported that even the Russia dossier that the Department of Justice used to justify FISA TAP warrants was found to be totally not even factual. So there's a number of things.
That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Look, yeah, I mean, you're not going to get, no leftist in their right mind is going to sit here and argue that the FBI and the CIA, they have integrity and they're, doing the right thing and law and order. No. There's so many high-profile examples of just absolute scumbaggery and crimes in their own respect that they've committed. But also, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Actually, and that's not even fair, because I'm sure if you do a real statistical breakdown of all of the FBI cases and everything that they're involved in, I mean, I don't know, 68% of the shit they do is sort of unobjectionable. Now, don't get it twisted, that 32%, woo boy, is there a lot of objectionable shit in there, right? But take a W when you can get it, dog. And like I said, I supported them investigating Hillary Clinton. So this is not a partisan thing. This is man, I hope they actually get criminals for the crime they commit. That's what that is. By the same token, you could talk to the strongest defund the police advocate, right? And they'll tell you, yeah, I'm no fan of the police, but whatever percentage of the time they actually are arresting the rapist and bringing them to justice, or arresting the murderer and bringing them to justice, or arresting the robber, the assaulter, and bringing them to justice, based. So by the same token, I look at the FBI the same way. I generally am against a lot of the shit that they do, but when they were going after Hillary Clinton, if they had gotten her, awesome. They go after Donald Trump, if they get him, awesome.
The president was very concerned about that were ongoing during his administration, and certainly we're seeing them now also continue in this administration.
But there was examples of 25 times where he wanted to use the DOJ to go after political rivals, some with absolutely no evidence at all to support wanting to use DOJ and weaponizing it for that reason. But I do want to go back and just talk about, you share concern that, like a lot of Republicans do, that saying that this is FBI overreach. But again, this was a search warrant that was executed after a federal judge signed off finding probable cause. So is your issue with how, the criminal justice?
And the head of the FBI was appointed by Donald Trump. Can't say it's a partisan thing. Can't say it's politicization. That's a hard word to say, by the way. Can't do it. In the same way that the 60-plus judges that threw Trump's rigged election lawsuits out of court, a lot of them he appointed. Can't say it's partisan.
System works? I mean, what is it exactly?
Pamela, right. So this is actually very easy, and you and I were discussing this before. This has never been done in our history.
So what? That doesn't mean it's wrong. It's never been done in our history that a post-World War II U.S. president has been tried for violating the Nuremberg laws and locked up at The Hague. But it would be based if they were.
to a former president, a political rival of the sitting president. Remember, these two gentlemen ran against each other, and Donald Trump has said he might run against Biden even now, and Biden said he might run. We'll have to see whether or not he does.
Biden didn't even know about the raid. He's letting the FBI and the DOJ act independently. He didn't know about the raid, and I believe him, because he's sort of a cuck, and I'm sure if they brought it to his attention and said, "Sir, do you approve this?" he would have been like, "I don't know, Jack." And the reason he would have done that is because that's what him and Obama did when it came time to go after George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. They punted, and Obama said, "We look forward, not backwards." So he probably would have done the same thing with Trump.
This is an absolute political rival of the sitting president. Now, we don't know.
So you think DOJ is just going after?
We don't know.
Hold on, I want to be clear.
We don't know what they said.
Hold on, Congressman, and I'm trying to give you the time to convey what you want to convey, but I want to be very clear here. Sure. What you were trying to say is you believe that the Justice Department under President Biden is trying to go after his political rival Donald Trump because of 2024. I mean, is that what you're trying to say here?
No, Pamela, okay. I didn't say that. Thanks for trying to put words in my mouth.
Honestly, Democrats want to run against Trump in 2024. They think he's the weakest candidate. Now, whether or not that's true is debatable. They did the Pied Piper strategy in 2016, and it backfired on Hillary Clinton, but that's definitely what the Democrats think.
I'm not. I did not try to. I'm trying to clarify to make sure that we understand.
What I said was they need to answer these questions. There better be something of important national security for them to have breached the confidence of the American public if they would go into the home of a past president, possible political candidate against this current president.
I don't even agree with that. I don't agree with that. Even if it was just about the classified documents, I think it's fine to do it. Just like I think it's fine if they would have raided Hillary Clinton for, her improper handling of classified documents. So I don't even agree with that point.
This is so outrageous that this has to rise to the level of this better not be a clerical issue between the archivist and the former president. Even former New York Governor Cuomo has said the same thing. I'm saying on your show is that this better not be some clerical issue or some minor issue.
So look, the speculation is that the FBI had already talked to Trump at Mar-a-Lago, asked for the documents. Trump didn't hand over all the documents, so they did this. That's one of the potential scenarios. The other potential scenario is it's really not just about this. It has to do with January 6th and some other stuff as well.
The FBI has gone in. And that's why we're asking, as the Intelligence Committee, we're in charge of classified material. We're in charge of the issue of the national security issues and secrets of the United States. If they're going into this man's house claiming that it's national security that brought them in, then they deserve to tell us. They deserve oversight. They deserve to answer the American public why a political rival of this president had FBI agents raid his home.
All right, there you go. There's a lot of debates like this happening on all the different major news networks, but just wait for it. Now, this was kind of combative, right? But the Fox News ones are unreal. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.